In this episode, we are shown a flashback. The boy or girl who was controlling the monster was here, and they were not the only one. There were also others, and they were known as cursed children. All because they had the power to control magical beasts, and even the food they were given was thrown at them. The reason they were treated so badly is that, in the past, those with this power used it to control livestock, which was fine until one used it to control several monsters, killing many people during a war. That's why they now hate those with this power, and even for just looking at the guy who gave them food, he hits them, emphasizing that they shouldn't look at him with those ugly eyes. After beating them for a while, we see that they were left unrecognizable. Worse still, they only received water and didn't eat for 3 whole days. And just a few days later, because of that same power, they gained a new ability, which was mind reading. And as soon as people found out about it, they became even more violent towards this little one. Despite being hated, abused, and beaten, they hold no grudge. A few days later, the same guy who mistreated them mentioned that demonic people like them could be useful to the people, or even to the nation. He then offered to have them lead those monsters to a certain place, promising that once they completed this mission, they would be allowed to eat delicious food to their heart's content, not just them, but also the other orphans. However, if they failed, their days would be filled with even more pain than now. That's why they accepted this task. It was revealed that at the time of the deal, they couldn't read his mind because they were fitted with a device that nullified that ability. At the same time, they were discovered by Ling, who removed the seal that covered them, making them nervous and losing control over the magical beast, which then hit them, almost killing them. That's why they felt bad, because everyone was going to suffer because of them. They realized that they hadn't helped anyone in their life, but since they hadn't hurt anyone either, they felt happy, hoping that when they are reborn, they won't be beaten as much and can be useful to someone in their next life. So, what happened? What we already know. Yes, our protagonist arrived to save them. However, when the monster released its miasma, it affected both of them. Our hero saved them with low healing, then collapsed, finally arriving at the point where we left off, as we are presented with another flashback of him, showing that he ate poisonous food to become more resistant. Slowly, he got used to it so much that even poisonous snake bites didn't do anything to him, except when one bit him on the rear, as that viper was indeed very poisonous. Each time he improved even more, to the point that when he tried fried poisonous vipers or frogs, he found them quite tasty. Although, yes, he still bled a little, but he was aware that he was already used to it. Now we return to the present. In an instant, he gets up and dodges the monster's attack, knowing that this giant frog is probably delicious. He also mentions that since he couldn't counter the poison in time, the monster spat out some blood, but from experience, he knows that this frog is no big deal. So, he keeps fighting with his parry. In an instant, the huge frog prepares a deadly attack. Our hero notices this and quickly pushes with his sword, causing the monster to be unable to release all its venom, which consequently explodes inside its body. That's how he finally ends the unfortunate frog. He quickly worries about the child, asking if they are okay. To which the little one confirms that they are. Nu, with honor, approaches and asks if they came alone. The little one simply responds that they brought that thing because they promised someone to take it to the city. Hearing that, Nu thinks that the little one was probably taking the giant frog to some restaurant, since he knows that fresh meat is the best. And walking it alongside them was the best way to keep it fresh. Besides, Nu, the strong one, believes that the little one has been raising that frog since it was small, and in fact, what he did by facing that monster was ruin the delivery of fresh meat to the restaurant, and for that, he now apologizes. Hearing this, the little one says not to worry, as they actually brought it because they can control monsters. Since Nu had never heard of such an ability, he praises them, saying it is a very amazing ability. The little one then reveals that they were born with this ability, which our guy thinks is a talent granted by the heavens. But then, the little one mentions something, which is that they actually belong to what is called demonic people. However, our dumb protagonist, having never heard of this, doesn't quite understand what they mean, even thinking that demons are a tribe where they are born with that ability, and that it is nothing special for them. But since they don't want to be killed, they simply confirm it. Our brown-haired protagonist then starts to daydream. He's always imagined having that ability, emphasizing that if he had it, he would make his animals work, which would help him in the fields and such things, and he wouldn't even worry at night about being attacked by stray dogs. And well, he also had the idea of using birds to deliver letters. Hearing all this, they ask if he's not afraid of demonic people, since people usually hate those of their race. But our strong friend mentions that it's not something he should pay much attention to, as others can say what they want, and that doesn't change the fact that their ability is indeed very useful, which makes the little one burst into tears. Through tears, they ask if there are really people who need them. Seeing their gaze, our hero thinks that, unlike him, the little one was blessed with a highly desirable ability. Rather, he wonders why they have such low self-esteem. But since he knows nothing about their past, he simply touches their head, confirming that there are indeed people who need them. As he says this, he also smiles. But just at that moment, Ines and our albino arrive, as both were worried about him. However, he mentions to them not to worry, as the bleeding has stopped, and highlights that he is very resistant to poison, which makes no sense to them. Since the monster's venom was not only deadly but an extreme venom that even ruins the ground it touches. Obviously, taking that direct attack and then continuing as if nothing had happened is clearly impossible. However, he recalls someone who was capable of that, and that was Instructor Sane, who is the sovereign of salvation. Once, he showed him and also explained that by perfecting the body and mind as much as a saint, the technique can purify everything it touches and thus also heal wounds. This was the perfection he finally found upon completing his unconventional training, which took him 40 years. However, he thinks Nor achieved it while still so young. Meanwhile, Sisso asks him to take care of the little one first. She mentions that she's fine and doesn't need help, but when Lin sees her better with those dark eyes that seem to drag you into the depths, her pale skin, and that silver hair, she asks the little one if she is a demon girl. To which our honor quickly confirms. Our albino then asks what he plans to do, and our protagonist says he wants to take her in the carriage, but Ines stops him. Meanwhile, Lin, aware of the situation, explains it better to our brown-haired guy. It was the little one who brought that monster and caused this situation, but our strong friend mentions that the little one was simply unfortunate that the wheat field got ruined. Moreover, because of him, she couldn't finish her job, which obviously scares both of them, so Nor asks the little one who requested it, and she responds that she doesn't know. Seeing this reaction, Ines quickly deduces that she is a slave from another place. She then asks if she has a place to return to which the little one reveals that she was brought here blindfolded, so she doesn't know the city's location. Upon hearing all this, Arlene realizes something and that she was very wrong, recalling a teaching from her dear father, who often warned her not to be deceived by rumors and to trust her own eyes. Recognizing that at first she only saw a girl from an evil race that scared her, but now that she sees her clearly, she's just a malnourished child with no place to go. Now, she finally feels ashamed of herself for having such a narrow mind. At the same time, our honor asks the little one for her name, and she tells us it's Rolo. Yes, she was actually a boy. Upon hearing this, our protagonist says it's short and easy to remember. At the same time, the albino asks Ines to take him with them, but the blonde simply explains that they can't. Hearing this, our honor thinks that if there's no place for him, he can stay in his place. Ines quickly explains that this isn't the problem, but that demons are not allowed into the city of Mitra, where they are going. If they take him with them, they will be considered enemies of Mitra and immediately attacked. Still, he wants to save this little one, and suddenly someone mentions that this is unexpected. When they turn to look, it's added that they thought he would have been dead a long time ago, but if he's here, it must be for some reason. And so he licks his lips, looking like a complete killer. And that's it. If you've made it this far, comment the word salvation to show that you reached the end.